Tell me about hypnosis.
Good question. I think everybody I've spoken to has had a slightly different definition of hypnosis. The one I use is to interact in such a way that I can lead you or attract you into different states that will enable you to connect better with your internal resources.
Okay.
And I'll do that through a number of things, but the easiest entry point is language.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So, do you have forms of hypnosis which are not about language?
Very interesting question. The way I tend to think about it is that the best way to learn hypnosis is often through language. Language is an entry point to get other people in hypnotic states. Curiously, when you've practiced the language or you've practiced these sorts of language things, their importance falls away. You can then begin to do it instinctively, if that makes any sense. But it maybe you've got the language so under pat that you're not thinking about it. Also, in a way, if you're in rapport with somebody, if I'm in rapport with you and I go into a pleasant, deep, relaxed state, you are likely to follow me. So the other thing that's important, as with all NLP, is this thing about the practitioner goes first. I will never get you to do anything that I am unable to do myself, and I will almost demonstrate to you how to do something by actually doing it with my own physiology, my own mental states first. So you will have a model that you can copy.
It seems to me that hypnosis is quite a vague definition in itself, because a lot of people are willing to throw the word hypnosis around where places it perhaps doesn't belong. Sometimes it's too strong of a tag to be attaching to things, because you have influence, you have persuasion. These things are not in themselves hypnosis, but there is an element of hypnosis in the way that we communicate.
Absolutely. I think there is another definition actually that you brought up in saying that. Steve Gilligan, one of Erickson's trainees, or whatever you want to call him, who's a very successful hypnotist around today, came up with the definition of hypnosis as trance is the natural states that we go through. Hypnosis is a sort of man-made approach of using trance so we can get the benefits from it. And I would also say one of the uses of learning about hypnotic language is at least three. The first one is you can sprinkle it into presentations, and a little bit like oil, I have to use a better metaphor, but a little bit like oil, your presentations just get a bit smoother, your messages go in a little bit easier, and that's using very little of the stuff. If you overdo it, you can seem a bit odd, but just a little touch of this stuff helps your messages go in much easier. So that's the first one, it's improving presentation. The second one is a little bit of hypnosis will improve all your change skills. If you're doing NLP type stuff, a little bit of hypnotic language here, a little bit of hypnotic language there, a positive useful suggestion there will make your change work just that little bit more effective, or in fact a lot more effective. And the third one, which is a little bit more profound, is the idea that sometimes in life we all get a little bit stuck. And by a little bit stuck, we get used to doing something in a certain way at quite a beliefs identity level, and life moves on, and we're here. And until we let go of where we are, we'll never move forward. And what hypnosis does, as does certain other rituals in society, it gives people a safe space where they can almost throw their identity up, let it reform and come down, and when it reforms, they let go of that old set of beliefs or identity, and they've come up with a new set that is applicable to where they are today. So I'm getting a bit profound with that, but I do genuinely believe it is one of the useful uses of hypnotic type stuff.
Could you explain to me the relationship between NLP and hypnosis? Because when people think of hypnosis, they invariably think of stage hypnosis, which gives this impression of, making somebody act in a certain way, having this air of command over another person's actions. But in NLP, hypnosis seems to be more about kind of relaxation, exploration, being able to look at yourself, bring up the unconscious, things like that, and to change your behaviour in positive ways.
Okay. I think there is a close tie between NLP. If you actually look, Richard and John modelled Virginia Satir, Fritz Perl, Milton Erickson. Milton was you can say Milton was one of the guys that made medical hypnosis acceptable in the West. Well, he started making it acceptable in the West. Both Fritz and Virginia used it. They didn't say it was hypnosis, but basically they all did the same sort of stuff, and they all did it to get results with people that were having issues. Okay, which ties in very much with what you're saying. And the cool thing about NLP is using all this stuff to help people to move to more useful places in their lives and to develop useful skills, which is where I started off. And yes, you can use this stuff for entertainment. And to some extent, even helping people change. You want to be mildly entertaining, because if somebody thought they have a problem, if we can get them to smile at it, that problem has changed in some way. So we all have a touch of the entertainment industry. I think the Paul McKennas, the Darren Browns of this world, they sort of have a mixed impact, because it's very useful that they bring things like NLP and hypnosis as attention to everybody, and the fact that you can do stuff with it. And at the same time, sometimes they create the wrong impression insofar as they frighten some people who don't want to behave like rabbits or chickens. And sometimes they make it look as though you will always get instant results with everything, whereas in many cases it's unlocking doors and unlocking skills that will enable you, that when you choose to use them, will develop you. And sometimes the development might be small, but one small development done every hour, every minute, every day, every month, every year, over a period of time, will produce dramatic stuff. That's sort of, I don't know if I sort of answered your question all that or not.
That's, what would you say are some of the characteristics of effective hypnotists and NLP trainers?
A different and very good question. I would say some of the most effective characteristics are that actually they can do it themselves. They're not doing something on other people, they're actually doing it to themselves, and actually in doing it to themselves they're influencing other people. So it's I go first. If I want to lead you into a state, it's a state that's useful, therefore I'm happy to show it's useful by going into it. I'm not doing stuff on you, I'm actually leading you stuff because I'm comfortable and I believe in it myself. So that's the first thing, that I go first, that it starts with me in a funny sort of way, not yourself, and then you choose to join me if you want to. But I'm demonstrating that it's good. And I have this belief, because I've been through all this stuff, that I know that in the end we will get you an answer that you want. So it's going first. The second thing is being able to work from your model of the world. So I'm not actually imposing my views on you. I'm actually open enough to find out what's going in your map, in your model, until we're both ready to do something with it. So I'd say that was the second thing, and very closely combined with that is a modelling skill, because one way of getting into your world is being able to model you. And I suppose after that is some techniques. But curiously enough, if I go first, if I enter your world, if I model you, the techniques actually become obvious.